April 14th, 1912. A night of unimaginable tragedy. The unsinkable RMS Titanic collides with an iceberg, sealing the fate of over 1,500 souls. While the world remembers it as one of the deadliest maritime disasters, there's another side to this tale, one steeped in eerie premonitions, ghostly encounters, and chilling mysteries that remain unanswered. In 1898, a little-known author named Morgan Robertson published a novella titled Futility, or The Wreck of the Titan. This story eerily predicted the Titanic disaster in almost uncanny detail. In his fictional account, the Titan is described as the largest ship ever built, unsinkable, luxurious, and tragically short of lifeboats. On its maiden voyage, it collides with an iceberg in the North Atlantic and sinks, claiming the lives of most on board. Both ships were nearly identical in size. The Titan was 800 feet long, the Titanic 882. Both carried roughly 2,000 passengers and sailed in April. But here is the question: was Robertson simply a creative writer, or did he tap into some kind of premonition? Artifacts retrieved from the Titanic wreck are revered, but some claim they come with a supernatural presence. At Titanic museums around the world, workers and visitors have reported encounters that are hard to explain. Late one night, a museum staff member claimed they saw a ghostly woman in a black dress descending the reconstructed grand staircase. She vanished before their eyes. Others have felt unexplained cold spots or heard faint voices in empty exhibit halls. Could these be echoes of the passengers still attached to their belongings? Perhaps most haunting are the premonitions felt by those connected to the Titanic. William T. Stead, a journalist and spiritualist, had long been fascinated with death. He even wrote short stories eerily similar to what would happen to him aboard the Titanic. Passengers unable to escape a sinking ship due to a lack of lifeboats. Before boarding, Stead told friends he had a bad feeling and believed he wouldn't survive the trip. Tragically, he was right. Reports suggest that around 50 individuals, including both passengers and crew, canceled their plans at the last minute. Among them were George and Edith Vanderbilt, wealthy members of American high society, who opted out so late that their luggage had already been loaded onto the ship. Unable to retrieve their belongings in time, they instructed their servant, Edwin Wheeler, to travel with their trunks to New York. Tragically, Wheeler did not survive the disaster, and the Vanderbilt's possessions were lost along with him. How do we explain these warnings? Were they coincidences, or something more supernatural? Of all the Titanic legends, the tale of the unlucky mummy is one of the strangest. The story goes that a British aristocrat brought an Egyptian artifact, a sarcophagus lid, to America aboard the Titanic. This artifact was said to bring misfortune to anyone near it. While there's no conclusive evidence that the mummy's lid was on board, it's true that its history is surrounded by strange accidents. Stories of injuries, illnesses, and mysterious deaths plagued those who came into contact with it. Some believe the Titanic's tragic end was another chapter in this cursed object's dark history. After the Titanic sank, the world believed it had heard the last from the doomed ship. But in the years that followed, something strange occurred. Multiple vessels in the North Atlantic reported receiving faint, ghostly SOS signals near the site of the wreck. These signals, described as distorted and crackling, gave the Titanic's exact coordinates. Could these signals be a natural phenomenon, or were they sent by the Titanic itself, echoing through time? When divers explored the Titanic wreckage decades later, they discovered a tiny shoe, a heartbreaking clue to the lives lost. This led to the recovery of a child's remains, later buried in Halifax, Canada, under the simple epitaph, "The Unknown Child." Years later, DNA testing revealed the child's identity, Sidney Leslie Goodwin, a 19-month-old boy traveling with his family. Yet, visitors to his grave report feeling overwhelming sadness or an inexplicable connection, as if the child's spirit still lingers. Since its discovery in 1985, the Titanic wreck has captivated the world, but it's not without its eerie stories. Dr. Robert Ballard, who led the expedition, described the wreck site as a haunted graveyard. Cameras have captured strange orbs of light near the wreck, and divers have reported feeling as though they were being watched. Ballard himself admitted that finding the Titanic felt more like calling than a mission. He even said the experience changed him forever, as if he had been touched by the spirits of those who perished. The Titanic story is more than a tale of human ambition. It's a window into the mysteries of fate, premonition, and the unexplained. From ghostly visitors to chilling coincidences, the Titanic continues to haunt our imagination. But what do you think? Are these stories merely legends? Or is there something more supernatural lurking in the depths?